Hey Chase, how's it going? It's Yanni here, having a look at your shot. It's looking really cool. And as you wanted some PR review, well, here it is. Okay. Looking through a few things, I think, the acting choices are all there. It's very strong. Few nitpicky points because you're kind of like at a very late stage in the process in the sense, you've really just got polish here, and softening some of those face shapes up. And overall, I think, there's just one thing that I'd comment out to you. So having a look at this, kind of like just over the top first, they kind of like seem to be, really nice and engaged. I like the arcs that people are doing, all the way through. It's looking really nice. I think kind of like the eyebrow change that you have on him around frame 94, yeah, ends at 94, so it's between 90 and yeah, 94 and 98 there. It's just a little bit in the wrong place because it's just before the actual cut. So when she asks him a question, well, it's not a question, it's I love you so much, she says that statement. Really, you want to see the reaction of him in the next shot. So either you want to trim that a little bit further forward, or you just want him to actually react. So you've got kind of like the start of an action around frame, yeah, 90. His eyebrows go up, he starts tilting his head up, and then when we go into the cut, which is frame 103, notice that his head is pretty much still for the first 5 frames. So from frame 103 to 100 and just about, yeah, 107 there, his head now starts moving up. And that's really jarring to the eye. You want the motion to be actually fluid as he goes through a sense. So if he's going moving up, when you cut to the next shot, you want it to continue up. So really you want to look out for especially the curves on the X rotation, just to make sure that he's actually, making one smooth movement, maybe some easing out and then easing in at the top of there, but make that motion of him actually going up very fluid. And I'd actually add the rising of the eyebrows on frame 106 so that his head rises and then he kind of like eyebrows kind of like go up, just because it makes that emotion just a little bit clearer there. He looks over, really good. I think this eye motion over here again on him, focusing mostly around frame 108, he's got kind of like a quick look over, and I think you might want to throw a blink in there, just because the eye motion's so long, it's like, it's not a small little eye dart that you can get away with. It's kind of like he's changing his point of view so much that you could almost have, when he looks up, blink, looks up, and the eyes are actually pointing towards her at that point. Because I think, might be completely confused here, anytime you do kind of like a very big eye change like that, it's nice to throw in a little blink, just because it kind of like means that he's changing his focus of attention there. So I think you can throw in a short little blink just round about frame 107, around there, make him look over towards her. And I think the pose on frame 123 is kind of like, I can't really read his expression or what he's feeling at this point in time, and kind of I see that towards the end of your shot his emotions are less clear while hers is still very, very, very clear. And so, he looks over at her, small little eye dart, which is nice. I think kind of like in over here in frame, yeah, frame 213, she does a small movement towards him, and it just reads a little bit funny. I mean, she's trying to get close to him. I'm just going to refresh. Yeah, when she kind of like goes forward and says, "You can tell me." It's I almost feel that although we can't see the hands doing anything there, that's almost like a motion where, even if it's off screen, you should have something like, "You can tell me," where her hand's actually going across, although I don't want this to actually be in shot, but really for her to be a bit more reassuring at that moment, almost like she's putting her hand on his knee or something, and she's just going, "You can tell me," and she's a bit more engaged at that point. I did it a bit over the top there, but I think that that's just one of the things that this turn over here that she does with her head to the screen right slightly, so she's always kind of like facing for him to a side like that. I think you could do that turn a little bit less. So pretty much on frame 114, same timing to 138 with the settle, but just turn the head towards screen right a bit more, so that she's not looking so much off screen, she's looking a bit more at him, and she's a bit more engaged with that moment. And then that last expression that he's got over here when we cut into the cut, I think we've got kind of like the same thing here. This part's pretty tricky because there's nothing said and it's a lot of facial acting at this point over here. So he's kind of like looking up. You've got a little bit of an eyebrow drop over here, which I would take out, which is from frame 228 going through to 246. His left eyebrow just drops kind of like a little bit, and it looks a little bit splined there, while the other eyebrow is like completely and utterly solid. So I think that that little movement there, take it out completely, and again he does a little bit of a take, and he comes down and up. I think, if that's kind of like the motion that you're going for, actually on frame 274, you can have a little bit of a jaw dip as well, because he's currently just looking around like this. I think you can go just very, 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 very small, not kind of like, big kind of like take there, but a bit more of a dip over there on the head rotation. And then I think at this point it's almost like, he could close his eyes and go into this solemn expression a little bit sooner as well, because you've kind of like got three emotions here going on at the same time. So it's like, you can tell me, and I almost feel that, on that sense, even what I did just there, he should have something like, just kind of like maybe a moment of doubt. He does something with his mouth, he might bite his lip, or he might breathe or do something there before he goes into this, like that. So I think that if that's clear at all, it's just that thing of, he's got to kind of like turn, breathe, and go straight into, the closed eyes moment as well. I just, feel that, although there's a lot of nice facial acting here, there's just some things that you can do with, the hands, or you can imply with them as well, which is, he could have his hand up to his face, he could do something there. So even though if you're not going to do that action, you might want to do just a little bit of a quick reference file to see what happens, if you did something and he did like this, or like that, and then just take the hand out, but look at what the face is doing in relationship to, what the hand would actually be emphasizing in that shot over there. So again, just having a quick look at her this time around, because I fixed a bit on him, a little bit too much. I think there's a little bit of a pop just on frame 6 over here on her head as she's leaning over. It's tiny, but it's there. If you want to knock that out, that would be great. I think kind of like her head rotation at the beginning, it feels a little bit jarred. You might want to try and smooth it out. Track the nose and see what the arcs are actually doing in the face, because she's kind of like going like this and down. You might just want to go like that and try to smooth that arc round a little bit. Okay, so she's got a nice drop over there. I think that add a little bit of overlap around frame 31, so when she's leaning forward, bend the neck and the head, so you've got this type of motion of her kind of like just panning back, very, 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 very smooth, like that. There's a little bit there, but it's not very clear with the camera angle that you've got. Okay, and when she hits the back of her seat, like that, maybe you can play around with the shoulders around frame 58, so that when she goes back, her shoulders kind of like roll a little bit around frame 58, and you can just make that seem just a little bit more relaxed. And then she comes back. She already is holding his leg. Okay, I've seen that in frame 93, so screw that comment that I gave you before. Yeah, because he has got that there. Yeah. Okay, it's just that we can't see it in the camera. These are some really nice touches. I think you can kind of like... Yeah, I think frame 9... yeah, you've got it really solid in frame 83. That moment's great of both of them. And... let's just have a look, see if there's anything else. Yeah. Yeah, I think the "but are you happy" something there. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Have a look at her face in frame 91. Her eyes are like really open. You know, the top of the eyelids is just above where the pupil is. And when we go into frame 149, her eyelids are just a little bit too closed at this point. So at frame 149, try lifting the eyelids up a little bit and sculpt the shape of the eyelids round a little bit more so that they favor the direction that she's actually looking at. And that'll basically make the initial action of her, you know, when she's looking at him, "But are you happy?" You know, and that's pretty much what I think you were going for, but you just want to leave it a little bit clearer. So you can exaggerate the pose of the eyes around frame 149. She does a little bit of a blink. Keep those eyes open, and then just close them down a bit when she's going for, "But are you happy?" is the point, you know, where she's kind of like goes in and she just squints her eyes a little bit there. And you can emphasize that as well with the bottom eyelid as well, because currently it's a bit too high. She looks like she's a bit, not necessarily angry because of the eyebrows, but it just looks a bit, she looks a bit too tight on the actual eyes. You might want to fake also her screen left pupil on frame 168, because it's kind of like a bit cockeyed looking into one side over there, so you might want to fake that out a little bit. Lovely little eye darts. Yeah. And I think that maybe the 120, the frame on 121, you might not want to make that squint just that extreme, because you've got a lot of motion here, kind of like you've got the head motion, you've got the eyes getting a little bit back together. Then when she goes into "but you can tell me," I think here you want to play a little bit more on the same deal. Just get the eyes bit more open again to see, you know, what it is that, you know, she seems worried, you know, so it's almost like, you know, just look at how the eyes actually just rise up like that a little bit. So take the shape of frame 153, just open those eyelids a little bit and give it a nice tear shape as well. So, you know, so squint it up on the inside of the eye over here and open it up in the area where she's actually looking, you know, just to lift those those eyelids just above the pupil a little bit more. And yeah, I think that's pretty much that for her. So loads of things, you know, that you could do here, man. I think you're at a great stage where you just really can go into all of this fine little detail stuff and really push those shapes and really kind of, you know, just sell a little bit more the acting as well. All the mechanics and everything else there is working just absolutely great. I think you've got a real good time this week to actually just go in and in detail, you know, just have a look at the eyelids, have a look at the mouths, and try to make, you know, the entire face just look a little bit more fleshy. But it's all there, man. You know, you just got some great stuff here. So Chase, have a great week. If you need anything else, keep posting. You know, I'm going to see if I can post a few reviews this week to people, and best of luck, mate. Take care.